Yeah, baby.
Oh.
Yes!
Yeah, baby.
This is the Sport Fishing Championship.
Final day of the Sport Fishing Championship. Those of you watching on sportfishingchampionship.com or the Louisiana Gulf Coast Billfish Classic in Grand Isle and Venice, Louisiana. 2 takeoff points. This third and final day, we will crown a champion of our first event of 2022 and our first event ever in the Sport Fishing Championship. I'm Robbie Floyd with Peter Miller. Let's take a look at our playing field. What are these anglers dealing with? These competitors, they are battling out there on the Gulf of Mexico.
They sure are. They're coming out of Grand Isle, Louisiana and Venice, Louisiana. 19 boats, and they're competing for the top prize, and they're all looking for the elusive big blue marlin.
Again, different areas that they can go to from Mississippi Canyon, staying relatively close, but we saw quite a few anglers in Green Canyon, maybe working their way towards Garden Banks. But again, they had to have this notion of where they were going to go ahead of time, but again, you have to make those mid-game adjustments as well.
They do have those reconnaissance missions where they go out there and check. They send planes out there. They've got guys on the oil rigs checking for them. And then here you have the scoreboard. We got Breathe Easy with 1,850 points, and they got the 100-point bonus for catching the first marlin in the SFC tournament.
Again, this is what it looked like yesterday when we were coming off of air, and Moncherie really had a build-up towards the end of yesterday afternoon, had some additional catches. Other teams did, but again, 3 great days. Several boats out there making back and forth trips, invincible boats, a great job by them. You know all about driving invincible boats at high speeds. Thousands of miles they've been covering.
Yeah, those guys push the throttles down to the fiberglass, and they're doing 70, 75, 80 miles an hour, and they're picking up footage from the boats, running it back to shore, running back out, making sure everybody's in good shape, and they're doing some great work, so thanks to Invincible.
We'll take a look at some of our anglers today and some of our competitors in the field. Craw Gator, one of our boats that do have cameras on. And again, these are some of the teasers, some of the action we'll be talking about. Captain Eric Chandler trying to get Craw Gator in the mix. It's one thing knowing they're there. You still got to bring them up, and then you still have to catch them.
Wait, I'm still focused on that teaser. I've never seen that teaser before. That is a new one to me, and boy, do I like that one.
Oh, man, somebody's going back home and getting them something. Again, you're going to see a lot of things new. I know I definitely am. And again, we're glad you can be a part of it on the sportfishingchampionship.com this morning. Let's go on with Craw Gator.
All right. Okay. Relax.
There it is over there.
Yeah, here we are looking at Craw Gator. They're hooked up with a blue marlin. It's actually exploding on the surface of the water. It looks like you're dropping bombs in the water, and it's glass calm, so it is a gorgeous day out there. Those guys are hooked up. It's rip and drag. The guy's in the chair. Tuna tubes are covered. Don't show your baits, guys. Keep it quiet.
Yeah. Somebody got a gaff? Hey, somebody.
Whoa, that's got to be a good-sized fish if they're trying to get a gaff right now. That's got to be one of those fish they might be weighing in, which is rare. Look at that lit tail. That fish is lit.
It's not long enough.
Again, they're just using that gap to draw the line a little bit closer. And again, as you talk about the tail and how it's illuminated, that's an excited fish, a nice marlin.
Leave him on for just a second.
They have to actually grab the leader down there, make contact with that leader, the swivel all the way up to the rod tip. So,
or touching it like we discussed. They either touch it and they cut it with that mate saver, which is a razor blade type knife, which you can keep in your mouth or your hand.
Work, boys.
Great release.
Again,
work,
this is about
boys.
conservation as well, because somebody's going to catch this fish one day again, and that's what the Guy Harvey Ocean Foundation, everybody, that's our motto. We want to see those fish release. Unbelievable job by that crew.
That is a beautiful fish. Congratulations to Craw Gator.
Cooking, cuz we took the stink off the boat, bro. Now we gonna get the big mama. We just got a warm up right here. It's all good when you can catch one.
Sometimes you just got to break the ice to get on the board.
Hey, I'd rather be lucky than good any day, cuz.
Yes, sir.
Awesome, awesome. It's a beautiful day. It's a great day on the water. Got a big old drill ship to ourselves. Lots of good camaraderie, good folks on the thing, and can't ask much better than this.
Awesome, man. Great job.
What's wrong with being fortunate and good? I don't see any problem with having good fortune go your way and be a good angler as well.
You know what they always say, Robbie? They say winners make jokes and the losers say deal.
Fog Cutter, another one of our teams that have cameras on board. Let's see what Fog Cutter's up to.
Still got it?
Yeah, he's got it. I'm letting him have it. All right, he's feeding up. Go ahead, Cass. Go ahead. I'm gonna lock it. Go ahead.
On it.
Go ahead, Cass. I'm gonna lock it up.
Getting ready to get tight on that fish. Popping into gear.
And then again, it's a direction to the captain to, to bump it in or out of
Just let it go ahead.
gear.
Get that little line up.
And then into gear to actually help hook that fish because the fish was coming out, it looked like.
I ain't taking that line right now.
Teamwork makes the dream work. You see them even with communications headsets. So, they don't want any mistakes.
Headsets are critical when the captain's up there in the tower. Everyone's screaming and you got him right in your ear, calmly directing you as to what to do. And then you can give him some feedback saying, hey, he's coming at us. Please bump ahead. Get tight.
We heard that
He's right here. He ain't far. Yeah.
Nice.
that's
Blue
awesome.
marlin.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
He's coming at the boat. They got to bump it forward.
We're good.
And again, that's just you don't want slack. Slack's your enemy.
Good. That was good confirmation right there. I want one of them on the leader. All right,
And again, the blue marlin, the highest point total sport fishing championship, 350. As he said, if I could get it to the leader.
Come on up, girl. I know.
A lot of times when you push that drag too far forward, that fish gets angry. But, it's kind of a chance you got to take. If you push the drag up, you get the fish a lot faster. But sometimes they dig down deep and they get down and dirty, which means they're staying down and they're going to be down for a while. But this one looks like it's almost on the leader. Here comes the leader. Mate's reaching. There he is. Oh, that is a beautiful shot. Wow.
Awesome, brother.
come up and eat right here, where you can see them nice and close, and hooked him, jumped on a leader, jumped all over.
Put on a good show.
Good show. Y'all will get a good show.
Amazing footage there. I mean, that's everything you want. I mean, everything we expected to see, we are getting to see here in the Gulf of Mexico. And again, max points 350. You want to catch the blue marlin.
I am ecstatic. I'm beaming. I'm smiling from ear to ear right now, watching a strong, powerful blue marlin ripping it up in calm water. And these guys are calm, collected, got it on the leader. The fish is jumping just to say, hey, I'm on CBS Sports. Let's do this.
And close to that time, too, when it gets near that leader and the fish starts doing it, that's a high pucker moment, isn't it? Because, I mean, it has to get to the leader first to be considered a legal catch.
That's right. And when you have him on the leader, you don't know where he's going to go. These fish are powerful. They're swimming 60 miles an hour, and all they take is a kick of a tail, and they can be right in your cockpit. So you have to be agile. You have to be ready to duck, and you got to be ready to spin the boat.
Unbelievable job from our camera crew out there. Kudos to them. Congratulations to Team Fog Cutter on that marlin catch. And listening to what the teams were saying between, Craw Gator and Fog Cutter, relax. It's, too often you get hyped up. You see this marlin at the end of the line. I mean, you've got to calm down.
That's true. You got to stay calm and collected.
Again, we've got a fleet of boats out there, 8 different cameras on our boats. and they're bringing it back and forth. The Invincible boats bringing you that coverage the past 2 days. Peter Miller, it's everything we wanted to see, and we're going to see more this final day of competition.
This is exactly what we wanted to see. You know, here we are watching blue marlin greyhounding in glass calm water with guys that are calm, collected, and they know exactly what they're doing. They're on TV. This is Sport Fishing Championships on CBS Sports. This is exciting stuff, Robbie.
Yeah, Cypress Cove Marina, again, the Hurricane Hole plate host, and we're going to talk more about the facilities, what these guys are fishing for, because, again, at the end of that rainbow, it could be $1 million. It will be $1 million to one of these teams. But, again, you couldn't ask for a better start. Great weather. They're catching marlin left and right. It's the Sport Fishing Championship.
Whether you like to ride the wind, find your secret cove, or reel them in. Plot your paradise with GPS Map Series from Garmin.
That's what I'm talking about. Sport fishing anglers from around the world competing for $1 million. The Sport Fishing Championship on CBS Sports Network.
It all comes back to the water, this binding agent, this fluid history of connection. Past, present, and future, all tied together through this never-ending, unwavering force. We belong to a community of seekers, anglers, and everyone in between. For us, it's more than fishing, much more. It's who we are, who we were, and who we aspire to be. We are Smith.
SFC coverage of the Louisiana Gulf Coast Billfish Classic is brought to you by Salt Life, Sea Home Watches, and by Smith Optics.
One of our mini billfish. You see the sailfish corralling that bait at the Sport Fishing Championship. 5 different categories of billfish that receive points, and we'll talk about them throughout the program. This morning, a tease for what you're going to see later on today at the top of the hour on CBS Sports Network. Robbie Floyd and Peter Miller here with you on this third and final day. We took off from Hurricane Hole as well as Cypress Cove. Our 2 venues, the playing field, what are they about and where did they go in this Gulf of Mexico? Yesterday, again, it's all about the oil fields, the derricks, the platforms. Some, all are not created equal, but there are bait fish consistently under these things. Let's take a look at some of our catches from yesterday. Again, a lot of these guys catching the bait around these rigs. They're actually up, and you hear that sounder. Anytime during the show you hear that sounder, it means that we have an update on somebody catching one of our fish. Again, rising suns yesterday at 8:22 in the morning with a blue marlin, followed by fog cutter. Again, these are the updates from yesterday's action.
And then we've got Breathe Easy, released a blue marlin at 10:04. Mon Cherie released a blue marlin at 10:19. And Southern Charm released a blue marlin at 10:25.
Things didn't start off so rosy for some teams. Again, we saw some catches, but they weren't released. They actually got off before them. Mon Cherie really started building midday, some back-to-backs from 38, and about an hour and a half later at 11:55, we saw Craw Gator with their released blue marlin. But again, you kind of get in those flurries. We saw that in the middle of the day with one team. We saw it later on in the day with others.
That's right. They get zeroed in on them. At 1:20, we had Southern Charm release their second blue marlin. 1:51, we had Rising Sun with a fish on. 2:15, we had Badonkadonk with a fish on. So the bite was obviously turning on.
And again, also you see the Invincible Boats yellowfin tuna. It's a different category. It's one of our championship fish, Rising Suns. They landed one of those. They will bring one of those in. Everybody can bring in yellowfin tuna, mahi-mahi, as well as the wahoo, and we will crown a champion at the end of our season in Puerto Rico for those three categories. Whoever had the biggest fish from each individual stop, we put them together and have one champion. Breathe Easy kind of got on a roll right here in the afternoon, and we went off of air back to back. Look at that, 4th and 5th blue marlin. That's getting it done in a quick time.
That's solid. They're working in an area. They obviously found the bait. They found a great spot. They found great temperature breaks, and they're on them.
The Rebecca getting on the board with the yellowfin tuna as well later on in the afternoon, just after 6 o'clock. Again, one of our teams we talked about being in that mode, in that groove, is Southern Charm. Yesterday, they were in that mode. They were catching fish. And when you see 5 different anglers on there, that's not the case, but that means 5 eligible anglers. There's only certain guys, and you have one rod pass, I think, in the SFC. When that guy sits down in that chair, it's his until the end.
Correct. And there's the leader, man.
Everybody has a job, a duty. Fairly Big Crow. There's the GoPro man.
2 GoPro men, if you will.
And we haven't talked about that too, as hugs all around. They have to be video documented. Of course, we get our coverage, our footage from our guys out on the water, but they cannot. It has to be continuous. They cannot have a break in video coverage from them actually doing this catch and release of the fish.
That's correct. And then they also have to shoot the GPS to show the exact time and location of where they are right after the catch.
Woo! Woo! Good job, boys.
Love it.
That's how we do it.
It's funny, the Southern Charm doesn't have country music playing either. They had some, they had some amped up music. They were trying to get
Green Day
up, didn't they?
I think I hear Green Day.
Go. Love it. Need 2 more.
WWRD.
What would Ron do? What would Ron Davis do? Roll Tide.
Oh, you won't hear a War Eagle out of this side of the seat. I do a lot of work in Alabama. You're either one or the other. You can't be in between. Badonkadonk yesterday, we saw them on the board as well. They got the coolest name, I think, in the fleet.
Not only that, but they got one late in the day, too, which is nice. It's nothing better than closing out the day with a fish.
Let's see what they did on board.
Well, you can see that drag ripping. That's exactly what the guys talk about. The fish hooks up, and they can take 100, 200 yards of line just like that.
I want to remind everybody, we do not have a male and female division. If you're a female, you're just one of the guys out there on the water, and she's in that chair, and she's fighting, and she's going to be there till the end.
She's killing it. She's taking up that slack as the captain's closing the gap on that fish. She's keeping her hand on the rod because in case the line snaps, the rod snaps back in your face. So you can tell she's a pro.
And that's
she knows
Michelle,
exactly what she's doing.
I think that's Michelle Hargroder Simon, the angler in the chair now.
Oh!
Toad, that's a big one.
She's thick. Wow. That's what you call a lunker.
I mean, there's marlin and then there's marlin. That's a big boy. I mean, but they do count the same, whether it be a 100-pounder or a 700-pounder. That is a big fish.
I would take 5 50-pounders any day.
Look at that. You're smiling now. What if it's still on an hour and a half from now, 2 hours from now? It's still taking drag.
Oh, that's a big fish.
And you've pointed it out in other shows, the tape marker on the right side is almost like a percentage of how much drag can be applied.
Look at the power and the grace on this massive fish. When they launch, it is so streamlined, it's like perfection, and they're just they hit the water perfectly, and the captain's got to spin the boat now because that fish is about to come in.
Got it.
Got him on the leader.
And once they got to that point, now it's a legal catch. Now they're just trying to release that fish as safely as possible.
Correct, and I believe they pulled him off right there with a legal catch, and the fish is on its way back to the deep.
So once you make contact with that leader, at that point, it's done, right? Now it's all about the conservation of that fish and making sure that everything is all right and that fish is safe to go back out there.
Correct.
I don't know how much you got on film, but he came right out, pinned me in the corner here, and got a little line burn, but yeah, he got underneath and broke off. But hey, had a show for him.
Hey, he called it just like you said, and look at some of these jumps, amazing, and I wish it, you can't direct that, marlin to get away from the sun, but you see this big silhouette just waving in the air. There you go, unbelievable.
This is perfection. Calm as could be, giant fish tearing up the water.
And the direction, the captain, talking about that, having to make that move. You talked about it. It's not just staying straight the whole time. That fish, you have to make adjustments.
Oh, he's coming right at the boat right now. He's about to make his turn towards the boat, and the captain's going to have to spin out.
You see the captain moving, the water moving by quicker. The captain's making those in-game adjustments.
That's right, trying to close that gap. That fish looks angry.
And it's lit up, too.
And you see the remoras hanging from his chin right there, sucking on the bottom of his chin, getting a free ride.
Little rising suns from yesterday. Again, we aren't showing you exact positions, but more generalities and general areas that these boats are fishing in. But rising suns yesterday, they were on the board. Anytime you hook up, you have a chance at a big one. We just saw that. Again, the platforms and the rigs play a factor.
Here he is, jumping to the left. Over here. Reel, guys. Reel. There he is. Got him.
Look at the Garmin right here. Anybody know
Give and take. It's a ballet of emotions.
Go down.
Fish is absolutely ripping line.
What's the water?
Yeah, please.
And as an angler, is this your time to maybe catch your breath because you've got the workout still ahead?
Yeah, once they rip line like that, you have to sit back and kind of regather your composure, regather your energy, get your lactic acid kind of distributed throughout your body, and then prepare for the next moment when the captain starts closing that gap for you. You're going to be winding like a maniac.
And Captain Jimmy Crochet leading that vessel, the Viking, 58-foot Viking, based out of Orange Beach, Alabama.
Make sure you film him touching the line. Film him touching the line.
And this is in the morning yesterday at 8:22 a.m. So that's exactly what you want early morning.
Legal catch right there. The mate's on the leader. He's holding it.
Hold up the 2 fingers to your camera.
You're just trying to set the tone for the rest of the day, right?
Exactly. Taking big wraps. You want to stay low. Keep a little bend in your arms. You let it go.
In that case, the fish wasn't ready to. You got up to the leader. It could have been a legal catch at that point.
He had a legal catch already, but he had to let it go because he wasn't ready to lose everything right there.
And everything meaning him, pulling him in the water, everything else. Because you double wrap around there, and if it's an instant, how many times you've seen guys go in the water? You don't want to see that ever, but I mean, it's a fact. It could happen.
And the guys know how to wrap. It's a special way to wrap so you can unravel it off your hand. You just straighten your hands, the leader comes right off.
Hey, I've seen plenty of cowboys who knew how to wrap in bull riding, and they still get caught up every now and then.
Yeah, every now and then. I want to keep those knees low under the gunnel, a little bend in the arms. Nice fish. Right at the side of the boat.
They're de-hooking. I mean, they're going the full deal. They're trying to get their, and again, we haven't even talked about that. It could be lures, live bait, everything. It's a multitude. And again, if I've got a $30 lure in their mouth, I may want to try and extract it if I can. If I've got a $5 hook, I might want to cut it off because, again, it's not going to affect the fish.
That's a pretty cheap lure and hook you just discussed. I think it's a lot more than that, but I appreciate the sale at Walmart.
I'm going to the economy side. My marlin section's very thin in Dallas, Texas.
We got a blue marlin special alert.
You got the GPS. Hey, don't turn the cameras on.
Again, based out of Orange Beach, Alabama. We'll be in their neck of the woods. Things could get interesting. Again, they're working a little bit further down the coast, but you can see smiles on their face. Again, this was yesterday morning.
Can we just stop for a second and look at those bibs he had? He cut them into shorts with like diamond cut shorts around the bottom. I've never seen that before. That is a unique outfit.
You're the fashionista, not me. I didn't even notice stuff like that, Peter, but I'm glad you pointed that out.
Oh, he's the epitome of sartorial elegance.
That sets the tone for the rest of the next 10 events. Again, looking at the boats out there on the water, generalizations. We're fishing in the Gulf of Mexico. They took off from Cypress Cove Marina in Venice and Hurricane Hole in Grand Isle. But the rigs, they're out there. The bait's out there, and we know the marlin are out there, along with the yellowfin tuna. Who's going to win this thing? We still have 10 more stops to go, but we got to crown a champion at our first one.
That's for sure, and that rig is absolutely beautiful. I've seen that rig before. I fished it, and it is a winner, obviously.
Man, it must really have some stuff around it. You're recognizing rigs, and you're a Florida boy. This is Louisiana we're talking about. Hey, we have more of the Sport Fishing Championship. Thanks for watching on SportFishingChampionship.com. It's going to be a great day in the sport of fishing.
The Guy Harvey Ocean Foundation is honored to be the official charity of the Sports Fishing Championship. Through this partnership and the support of donors like you, future generations will enjoy and benefit from a naturally balanced ocean ecosystem. Our education programs, both in the classroom and online, bring to life the work needed to make sure we have clean oceans for decades to come. Join us today at www.ghof.org.
Serious. You are as excited to wake up for a 4 a.m. fishing trip as you were when you were a kid. It means winning 3 World Sailfish Championships. It means you know what you need and what you don't. Being serious means seeking out the ultimate fishing machine, which is what Peter Miller has found in the unmatched handling, speed, and comfort of an Invincible.
It's the simple things, like spending a day at the beach, splashing in the water, playing in the sand, and creating sandcastle masterpieces. Rediscover fun and family on the beautiful white sand beaches of Gulf Shores and Orange Beach.
SFC coverage of the Louisiana Gulf Coast Billfish Classic is brought to you by Invincible Boats, Centered Wellness, and by the Louisiana Office of Tourism.
Welcome back to the Sport Fishing Championship on SportFishingChampionship.com. The Louisiana Gulf Coast Billfish Classic is the first stop of 11 of this 2022 campaign. It's the inaugural season of the Sport Fishing Championship, and there's no question they are catching the mighty billfish this week. This is the final day. We will crown a champion, and they will be the points leader, the recipient of the 3,500 points for taking first place if they can come out of Louisiana on top and kind of push their way towards that $1 million purse in Puerto Rico at our final stop. Robbie Floyd and Peter Miller with you, and you see that. That's what we saw yesterday from one of our teams, but they weren't the only team catching billfish. Again, the point structure at each and every stop is blue marlin give you the most points, Peter, but you want to catch also the first blue marlin because it gives you an extra 100 points.
And again, that 100 points is a big advantage at the end of it all. That 100 points could be the difference of winning or losing.
Again, 5 different billfish categories. We're not going to see all of them caught in the Gulf Coast today. But looking at the updated points, 450 behind is Mal Cherie. They had a little bit of a flurry in the middle of the day yesterday. They actually led for a bit, but breathe easy with that first catch. That's what the asterisks by it. They get that extra 100, and then they have one more blue marlin. But again, top 3 pretty tight, and then you have 4, 5, 6, and 7 actually tied for that 4th spot. Southern Charm, we saw them a moment ago with a fish on, a catch and release, but that wasn't the only billfish that they caught yesterday. Let's take a look yesterday at how it went down on fish number 2. See how close they are to the structure over there as well, Peter?
Oh yeah, and they're on a beautiful platform on a 63 Hatteras with Captain Landon Bell, first mate Connor McLeod, 5 anglers. Basically, they're sliding forward on the chair, and then they reload by sliding back on the chair, and then they come back and wind down, and that's how they gain that line.
Get the leader touch first, Dale. Again, this is a quick look back at what happened yesterday. As we're showing you in a couple of minutes, this could have taken 15, 20, 30 minutes, even hours at times, depending on the size of the marlin. Tell me I'm good.
Got the leader wrapped. It's a legal catch. They're getting some GoPro footage right now. These mates have their work cut out for them.
Everybody has a job. We see the inner ear communication. That way you're not screaming, yelling, talking over each other.
Look at that. He's got everything involved in that pull right there. Every muscle in his body was twitching.
Move, move. Come on, you gotta be quick. Good job. So you gotta be quick. At that point, they're going, okay, we can't draw this out. I mean, until we actually have that leader. If you think you got good video.
Yeah, he wanted to walk him across to the corner. Get him out of that prop wash. There he is.
They're good. They're golden now. Now it's just about the release of this marlin. Southern Charm based out of Orange Beach. You see that Texas on the back. We will be at Texas. That's where we'll crown our Gulf champion, the 5th of 5 stops.
Watch your step. Watch your step. Everybody back up.
$1,000 on the line for both the Gulf and Atlantic champions.
And there you go. There's their release.
It's cool seeing the camaraderie, and we've talked to the anglers, and that's what it's all about. A bunch of buddies out there, you know, doing their thing and very talented. All of them are high-fiving. The captain's up at the top running the ship.
Captain Landon Bell up there said, get ready, boys. We're about to make a suicide lap on this drill ship. He's about to come out from under it. And old buddy Paul had a mouthful of chips. Fish was on the teaser, couldn't say nothing. Like another fire drill almost, trying to get this fish to bite. Kept knocking it out of the water. Tried dang near killed 3 different baits, you know. Finally got a hook in him. Made it happen.
Lance, OJ,
yes, sir. Do it again, fellas. That's 2. That's 2, day 2. Let's get it.
Yeah, baby!
Man.
Hey, dog. Hey, 3rd quarter, boys. 3rd quarter.
Boys and girls, this is live this morning. Quantified release blue marlin. That's the 707. We got one on the board this morning. This is live coming at you. It's not look back at yesterday. We have a release of a blue marlin from Quantified.
And again, the water is glass calm, and it is great conditions to be fishing for these blue marlin.
Again, everybody been watching on sportfishingchampionship.com this morning. We have 8 camera boats out there in our field. We cannot bring you the entire fleet, but we try and bring you everything we can. The Invincible boats have been running back and forth, thousands of miles. You and I had to go about 1.5 miles to our hotel. These guys and girls, they've been living it rough out there. Again, they took off Thursday, Peter Miller. They're not coming back until this afternoon, and it's been work every minute between then.
Oh yeah, and they're on the fish. These guys are catching these fish, and I'll tell you what, there's nothing that brings levity to a boat more than a big blue marlin in glass calm water. That's what you want to see, what you want to do, and that's why we're all here.
And we're seeing fish catches. In the morning, you'll have a flurry. Midday, you might have a flurry. In the afternoon, you might have a flurry. You can always follow us on sportfishingchampionship.com. We will be back in just a minute on CBS Sports Network and bring you a couple of hours of coverage, maybe some more new footage, some new releases as well. But again, follow us online throughout the day, sportfishingchampionship.com. We'll also do an update. Want to remind everybody later on the week, because again, everything is officially unofficial until they get back and they can verify everything. But again, at the top of the hour, CBS Sports Network, we will be live from our SFC studios. We'll be on site with Site 1 with the Gale Force Twins. Peter, I love seeing that first catch, and I love hearing that sounder for the first time today on this final day of the tournament.
And I love those high fives from all the guys that are completely pumped up. We are catching some fish.
Again, the blue waters of the Gulf of Mexico, the blue marlin waving and wagging. We've got marlin, we've got invincible yellowfin tuna. It's going to be a great day, Peter. I don't know who's a favorite, especially when you saw those flurries between a couple of our teams. That just shows you at one moment you could have next to nothing. Next moment you could be on top. It could happen. Watch us live, top of the hour on CBS Sports Network. For Peter, I'm Robbie. We'll see you then.
A day out on the water could go great. Or it could have a few minor setbacks. Things could get rough. Or you could lose that $900 smartphone. Whatever the problem, Yugo provides unmatched premium protection for any water sports adventure. Yugo. To get yours, visit YugoWear.com or simply scan the QR code on the screen. And remember, just add water.
Yeah, baby! That's what I'm talking about!
Sport fishing anglers from around the world competing for $1 million. The Sport Fishing Championship on CBS Sports Network.
So, you want this, but you can't have it without this, or this, or this. Until now, introducing a new way to travel, intranationally. Get all that international charm without ever leaving the country. Right here in St. Augustine, Ponte Vedra. Get all that culture, all the cuisine from that culture. You're welcome. All the gram-worthy sites from that hashtag culture. Right here at home. St. Augustine, Ponte Vedra. Travel intranationally.
SFC coverage of the Louisiana Gulf Coast Billfish Classic is brought to you by Garmin, the Guy Harvey Ocean Foundation, and by St. Augustine and St. Johns County, Florida's historic coast.